On the face of it, the conduct is exactly what it says. That is subject to expulsion. The Constitution is clear about that. That if my action, Richard Ahiagba, if my actions lead to bringing the party's name into public disrepute and ridicule, it is an action that is subject to expulsion. But that expulsion is subject to Article 4 of our Constitution, which is that I must go through a disciplinary process. So it is not just simply that because I've committed that act, I'm just going to be sacked by fiat, that which this letter would say that we have expelled him from the party. No, it didn't say that. It says that a process will be initiated, which process is provided for in Article 4 of our Constitution. So the letter is appropriate in announcing that the party has taken notice of the conduct.
Okay.
And that has initiated the process under Article 4 to ensure that he is expelled or he's given fair hearing, and the disciplinary committee then will determine if he must be expelled or given hearing to him, his explanations and what he meant by that. Okay. If it is that he didn't intend to say that or something compelled him to say it, and the deliberation with the disciplinary committee will bring that to light, and the cost of that decision is not mine to make.
What will you say to someone who says the party is only trying to punish him for his past sins? Past sins here, I mean his expose on Galamsey.
I don't think so. I mean, that matter is long gone and it's not up for litigation. The fact of it is out there. I have been hearing since after this issue, people allege, and even back then, but it's come back to public conversation that his son is involved in Galamsey. And matters such as that are speculative. I don't have any proof to that effect. And what letter, I don't know if it's a letter or a report or whatever, he's written has been discredited in many instances. But for me, this has nothing to do with his work for the party. Okay. What is proper that is that he has clearly breached our Constitution. For me, the party as stands, I am not the party. Okay. No one person is the party. We are members of the party because we have elected to subscribe to the dictates or the Constitution of the party. And it is clear in the Constitution that as a member, you shouldn't bring the party's name into disrepute. And the comment is made is dangerous. It has consequence for the stability of the party. It's likely to create factions in the party. It's likely to undermine unity in the party. To say that the party's 2023 presidential primaries was rigged for an individual, whether it's rigged for Dr. Baumia, it's rigged for Ken Ajapon or any other person, that is a serious comment to make. And as a member of the party, it is unbecoming of an individual to make that comment. Professor Boateng is not just a mean person, he's a reputed individual. Right. In private life, professional engagement. So he knows better. He knows that his words carry weight. So for him to say that, it is intentional to undermine the party. That's the seriousness of the matter. So for me, the beauty of it is that it will be applied to me, it will be applied to Prof. Boateng or any other person. Because see, we are today leading the party not for ourselves, but for posterity. And so the things we do today, if we let them pass and they are not sanctioned under our Constitution, it just paves the way for others to excuse such punishments if they occur in the future. And that will undermine the party. That will weaken the party. And I think that this here ought to be understood, not in light of, picking on Prof. Boateng, but it is to ensure that people and members of the party do right by the party and uphold their membership duties. They uphold their membership duties to ensure that we promote and defend the good name of the party. What he said was uncalled for. There is no such thing as a true MPP and a fake MPP. For me, it is confounding how he comes by that description. If you disagree with leadership Richard. Today, you can say so. Okay, there are reasons for you to disagree. Yes, that's fine. It's a democracy. You can disagree. All you have to do is work towards replacing that leadership that you think is not working well. You can work through a democratic process to replace it. That's all we have.
All right. Noted, Richard. Thank you. Thank you very much. We do appreciate your time with us. That's Richard Ahiagba. He's Director of Communications for the NPP. Let's head to the courts. We're hearing of the MP for Okpandai's application for certiorari in order to quash the decision of the High Court in Tamale that invalidated his election as MP is underway at the Supreme Court. Matthew Nyendam and his lawyers are arguing before a 5-member panel of the Supreme Court that the court erred, creating jurisdictional errors and errors on the face of the records. Gary Nimako, lead counsel for the applicant, made the argument that the Apex Court should quash the proceedings and the subsequent judgment of the court. Currently, lawyers for the first interested party, that is the NDC's candidate Daniel Nsala Wakbal, are opposing the request. EIB Network's legal affairs correspondent Mutala Enusa, who is at the Supreme Court, reports that both Nyendam and Wakbal are in court. And he joins me. Captain, what more can you tell us at this moment?
Well, Lily, there has been an update in what I have given you earlier.
Okay.
An update is in the extent that the 5-member panel of the Supreme Court presided over by Justice Gabriel Paman with Justice Amadou Tanko, Justice Emmanuel Yone Kolendi, and Justice Samuel Siedu, together with Justice Henry Anthony Kofi, have adjourned the case to the 28th of January 2025 to make a ruling on that particular action filed by Michael Nyendam, seeking the Supreme Court to quash that judgment of the Tamale High Court. The issue that they have, in fact, they have raised 3 main grounds, 2 of which you have indicated. The one that they are saying that the decision is the error committed is patent on the face of the record that is before the court. And interestingly, the interested party, the first interested party, that's the NDC candidate, his lawyers are arguing that the main contention of the issue before the Supreme Court is to the effect that, look, there are 2 issues of Gazette that has come to the Supreme Court, and they are in contention. The applicant here is making the point that the Gazette that was gazetted, in fact, the result that was gazetted was on December 24. But if you look at the one that the NDC side is relying on, is making the point that the one that was gazetted on January 6th. What is the issue now is that they are making the point is that the petition was clearly filed out of time, the 21-day stipulated time that was fixed. If you look at the timelines relied on by the petitioner, it means that that petition ought not to have been looked in, ought not to have been investigated, and therefore the judge committed an error or jurisdictional error in all of that. So clearly, the matter ought to be referred to the Supreme Court for the Supreme Court to look at it. In fact, during the course of the submissions, members of the panel took time to seek clarity from all the parties, and at the end, their decision is that the case be adjourned to the 28th of January for a ruling. What the court, for a decision, what the court has also directed is that the suspension of the rerun will also stay as it is, at least until the 28th of January, when the Apex Court makes determination as to whether or not the decision or the judgment from the Tamale High Court is in order, or the Supreme Court will have to intervene. Of course, Lily, there were known faces at the Supreme Court. I saw the minority leader, Afenyo Makin. I saw the MPP side also. There were some known persons within the General Secretary who was also present in court, among others. And of course, the NDC side, we also saw Rodson Dafia Mako, and then Tanko Computer, and all of them appeared before the Supreme Court. Moment after, we spoke to Gary Nimako, who is counsel for the NPP candidates.
We made application, of course. We await the judgment on 20th of January 2028. 2026.
2026, sorry.
That's right.
So that was Gary Nimako, Captain.
So that is Gary Nimako, brief one there, saying that they are until the 28th of January when the Supreme Court come out with its determination on that particular issue that they have put before the court. But of course, Roxanne Dafia-Makpo has also been reacting on the side of the NDC.
Just heard arguments in the sessional application board against the decision that was delivered by the High Court Commercial Division in Tamale regarding the order directing the Electoral Commission to order for a rerun in the Mandai parliamentary elections. The matter has been adjourned to, I believe, Wednesday, 28th of January for a decision. Now, we believe in the wisdom of the Supreme Court, so we know that justice will be done. You must look at conduct of the parties in the matter. This is a case that the applicant or the respondent in this matter, the second interested party, the applicant in the petition case in Tamale, didn't sleep on his rights. When the Electoral Commission was refusing to issue Gazette notifications after 2 weeks, when the elections were held on the 7th, and by the 23rd, time was running, so we went to court. Nobody can blame somebody who goes to seek a judicial remedy. So where public documents are made available in court and they are brought to your attention, you have a duty under law to observe the terms of those public documents. Today they say that they are online publications, but they were not online publications. Those were the same documents they brought to Parliament. In fact, on the 6th of January, that was the document that the clerk relied on to swear me, Dafia-Makpo, in as a member of Parliament in the 9th Parliament, as a result of which we proceeded to elect the Speaker of Parliament.
So that's Roxanne Nelson Dafia-Makpo. He's a member of Parliament for South Dai. He's also part of the legal team of Daniel and Salah Wakbal. He is the NDC's parliamentary candidate for Mandai. Captain, I know that it's quite a busy day for you in court. There's the Abu Trika romance scam saga in court. There's Men's Gold, and then the Abesim murder trial. Any update on these cases as well?
Yeah, so in respect of the Abu Trika one, this afternoon, even earlier, it was fixed for the morning, but it has been adjourned to this afternoon. So this afternoon, that case is coming up and all of that. You have also mentioned other cases, but I can also tell in relation to the buffer stock cases that today that matter came up, but he has acquired the services of a new lawyer. So case management conference has been adjourned on the instance of his lawyer, Augustine Sobo, just so that he can also scrutinize the document and familiarize himself with what has happened so far. In relation to the other cases that you have mentioned, in our subsequent bulletin, we'll bring you up to speed on all those cases that are pending in court.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. That's our legal affairs correspondent, Mutala Inusa. The news returns after this break. Stay with me. You're welcome back. This is Newsroom, and I am Lily Mohammed. The premises of the Electricity Company of Ghana, the ECG, and the Volta River Authority have turned red as workers intensify protests against the government's stated intention to privatize the retail sector of the Electricity Company of Ghana. Red banners and armbands have been mounted and worn at the offices of both institutions following a Red Tuesday declaration by the Public Utilities Workers Union of the Trades Union Congress. The union directed its members to wear red armbands as a symbol of protest. PUW is expected to address a press conference to officially state its position on the government's privatization plans for ECG's retail operations. And we have our man on the beat, Calvin Powell, joining us. I understand that the press conference has been addressed already. What were some of the key things that he mentioned? Calvin, if you can hear me.
So, after addressing the press, the Trade Union Congress General Secretary, the person of the fact of the matter is that they are asking government to halt all actions towards the privatization of ECG and NETCO. Now, they are making some proposal to government to consider. According to them, in the last 6 months, government had an agreement with them to actually rework their operational strategies in order to make ECG and NETCO. According to them, they've made some 82% improvement in that regard. According to them, prior to July 2025, ECG was making monthly revenue, but that has been improved to 7 million of 2025. So they're highly disappointed in government that upon even this improvement, bent on privatizing this national asset. So these are of the items that they are putting before government, and we want government to consider going forward. They say that the 6-month management union, that turnaround program, which has brought about an increase from revenue of 900 to 1.7 billion, should be extended so that they will continue to do what they are doing now. And they say that while the government reviewed the turnaround program, a NETCO and ECG privatization should never be mentioned anywhere, because according to them, privatizing this national asset will only lead to losses that government will not even be able to shoulder. So they are saying that all the concessions that government is proposing to make to a private entity, those concessions should rather be channeled to either ECG or NETCO, so that we'll be able to raise income for government. And they also said that there should be a stakeholder board to assess the works that ECG and NETCO are doing, so that they will come out with clear indication as to what are the problems. They also mentioned that the MDs for ECG and NETCO should be giving clear deliverables that at the end of each month, government want to see them do A or B or C. And if they are not able to meet up, then government can take decision on them. So now they don't know what actually they are to deliver. They are just working. So they should be giving clear-cut deliverables to work on going forward. So these are some of the demands that the Public Workers Union, through the Trade Union Congress, are making to government. They are saying that government should indefinitely halt any plans to privatize ECG or NETCO, and also come back to the drawing board, because they are prepared to go all out and perform as government is expected. Lily.
It's interesting, Calvin. I am wondering what is on the table for them, what they know, because on a number of occasions, even on this platform, we have engaged the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, and they state clearly that they will not privatize the ECG. So I'm wondering what you probably have been able to sniff around or heard that they know that probably the public does not.
Well, so according to them, government is intending to privatize the retail sector, ECG. That is when power is transferred to Electricity Company of Ghana. Before they sell it to the public, those that sell it will now be handled by the private sector, but not ECG management. So there will be a management composed of private entity that will be selling the power to big. This is what they are in against.
Okay.
They are not working with private entities. They are, yes, that is their proposal.
All right.
They don't want any private sector participation in any unit of ECG.
Okay, noted. Thank you very much. That's Calvin Powell. He is a man on the beat as the ECG and VRA workers are on a sit-down strike. They were in red armbands. They painted the whole agencies red. Let's focus on health infrastructure for now. Health Minister Kwabena Mintah-Akando has reaffirmed the government's commitment to completing health infrastructure projects inherited from the previous NPP administration. Addressing journalists at the sidelines of the first anniversary celebration of the John Mahama administration at the presidency, Mintah-Akando said the government is targeting the completion of 10 of the Agenda 111 projects under a public-private partnership.
Budget, we've been tasked to complete about 10 of these Agenda 111. We are also bringing the private sector in. We are bringing companies like the gold mining company. So in the mining areas, if there's any Agenda 111 there, and then the mining company is interested, we'll give it out to the mining company to complete, equip, and run. We will look at corporate Ghana, we'll look at individuals who are interested, then the government will partner the private sector to be able to complete all these. But for now, for the 2026 budget, we are targeting how we can complete about 10 of the Agenda 111 projects.
Away from that, the Tema Regional Police Command has intercepted over 1,600 parcels of substances suspected to be narcotic drugs in a targeted intelligence-led operation along the Akonsombo-Tema Road. According to the police, the operation followed intelligence received on January 10, indicating that suspected narcotic substances were being transported from the Volta region towards Tema. Surveillance was mounted along the route with attention focused on the Agomeda Junction area. The officers intercepted 2 vehicles, a white Toyota Highlander and a black Mitsubishi Pajero driven by 2 suspects identified as Isaac Odo, aged 33, and Kwame Mani, aged 39. In total, 872 parcels were retrieved from the Mitsubishi Pajero, while 741 parcels were found in the Toyota Highlander, bringing the total to 1,613 parcels. The suspects were arrested and currently in police custody, assisting investigations. The exhibits have been handed over to the Regional Criminal Investigations Department in Tema, and samples will be forwarded to the Forensic Crime Laboratory for testing. Police say arrangements are underway to process the suspects for court. Attention to public service, where the head of local government service, Professor Lord Mensah, has announced a nationwide crackdown on public officers who illegally alter their dates of birth, warning that the practice is a criminal offense that threatens the integrity of the public service. He says investigations have uncovered cases involving officers who sometimes, in collusion with human resource personnel, manipulates their records, often as they approach retirement. Professor Mensah made the disclosure during a weekend visit to the Eastern Regional Coordinating Council, the first stop on his nationwide tour of the Regional Coordinating Councils and selected MMDAs.
When they are about to go on pension, most of the time you see the day within the date, the months being remain the same, but the year changes. Either they add +2 or +3, and the maximum they can go is +4 years. So far with the data that has come on my table, it has come to the attention of management that some human resource officers connive with their officers to unlawfully alter date of birth in official records. We know the channels of changing this date of birth is not only restricted to the HR directors. It goes beyond the local government service, but we are cautioning our officers, and we'll trace it all the way to whichever channels that are used for this, activity. This practice constitutes a criminal offense and determines the integrity, undermines the integrity of the service. The national security has been engaged to support ongoing investigations, and a number of HR officers have already been identified. Any officer found culpable will be subject to the full rigors of the laws of this country, in addition to the applicable administrative and disciplinary sanctions that is required.
Moving on, the Member of Parliament for Ewutu East, Phyllis Nakoyo Okuno, has assured traders at Kasua New Market that reconstruction of the fire-ravaged market will begin soon. According to her, National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, in collaboration with the Ghana National Fire Service, is reviewing market designs nationwide and will remodel Kasua New Market to improve safety, prevent future outbreaks, and ensure traders can resume their businesses without further disruptions.
The recent Kasua New Market fire has left hundreds of traders and their families in hardship. However, authorities say reconstruction is already underway with a focus on improving access, enhancing fire prevention, and strengthening control systems to prevent future disasters. Richard Amoyate, director of NADMO's Inspectorate Unit, adds that fire safety awareness campaigns for traders have also been stepped up.
Making sure that do no, very, very, very important. Now, Pempi is say, a chance secretary, no, before so bet me do minty on Fred Odin Jaffono, and also Nim Kra of Fred Odin Jaffono.
Meanwhile, the Ewutu Senior municipal authorities are also looking to remodel Kasua New Market and other commercial centers to make them more disaster resistant. The Member of Parliament for the area, Phyllis Nakoyo Okuno, has assured traders that the market will be rebuilt soon, allowing them to resume business.
Now, you can see the reconstruction of the markets. Emma, my no, my sisters, no, you for now, or more, a trauma de wa hase. Now, aside the reconstruction, consultants. Yade Ejumane Beshomon Sema Omo Aya reconstruction. Consulting work no Omo paper no there is going to be a fire station a kaho ewo new way na yebesino with hydrants. Say anytime a banasa bioma yebetumi enya easy access to water na yetumi edi edunja.
Alhaji Haruna Tete, CEO of the market, thanked the government for the relief items distributed to over 250 affected households. He also called on the authorities to expedite the reconstruction process so that traders can return to work without further delay.
Any MC and independent for back near to a Jedifoni in every park. No biaba, Obia Wapatawa. No, I be Ganaway, I a crabeshe. MC when yesterday, say, you bet me Nama a Jeway. I a guy bet me the capital, Abama Assembly no. Na Assembly so naso no medima yen so je defo no so ye hwe nim se aban be boy.
With reconstruction plans now in motion and safety measures being reinforced, traders at Kasua New Market remain hopeful that their livelihoods will soon be restored and that the market will emerge stronger and safer for the future.
In other news, the CEO of Brand South Africa, Neville Maggi, has stressed the importance of maintaining targeted communication efforts across the African continent, with a particular emphasis on South Africa's unique strengths in diversity and agility. Speaking in an interview with GHOne TV on the sidelines of the B20 summit in South Africa, Mr. Maggi explained the need to embrace agility from education, business, and governance to ensure systems put in place are current and competitive.
South Africa is the only destination under B20 where they've had co-chairs, male and female, to again set the pace. Yes. No other destination has done that. Yes. And then, of course, us as Brand South Africa, the legacy is, of course, ensuring that we're able to continue building on the momentum of G20. So post G20, we look at the World Economic Forum to continue with the messaging. And of course, as you know, South Africa has now been elected as the next chair of SADC. And so that's the next project. So it doesn't end with G20 with a full stop. Yes. There are other projects that are lined up that will continue the messaging. From a Brand South Africa perspective, we've continued to ensure that we don't just run continent itself of Africa, because we can't be South African based and forget that we are part of Africa. So we have to ensure that we continue the messaging within the continent. And then fifthly is, of course, the Asian region, which includes, of course, China, as well as India, and some of our other partners in the ASEAN region. So that is how we've actually tailor-made our strategy. And we're seeking critical messages around diversity as South Africa, because as you would have seen, we're a very diverse nation, coming from the dark shackles of apartheid to where we are today. We continue with that protection of human rights, understanding where we come from and how we are able to ensure that each person's dignity is upheld. And of course, respecting and profiling each person's.
Let's now bring you the latest in business.
The Business Brief is brought to you by GHOne, passion for technology.
In Business Brief this afternoon, Executive Director of the Center for Public Opinion and Awareness, Michael Dunyinamensa, says the government's announcement of the clearance of the $1.47 billion energy sector debt reflects a commitment to accountability. Speaking on GH3, he argued that the disclosure made amid backlash from the minority helps rebuild public confidence in government and strengthen transparency around major fiscal decisions.
In terms of our governance systems, we tend to celebrate mediocrity a lot of times, and this might pass as one of those examples. I don't see anything wrong with a government, putting out a PR information as to, we've made payments in our energy sector, because this is a very critical area that Ghanaians are most concerned about. So if they put out something like that, I don't think it should be anything that should generate this much buzz or interest, because it is just information, and it is also some type of accountable governance. You let people know what you're doing and what is going on. And you should know that in previous years, the government has really faced some challenges, especially in terms of the general perception around it. Even at the international level, most of the financial organizations downgraded our financial status and things like that. So putting out this information sometimes can build back the confidence that was lost.
Meanwhile, energy analyst and member of the NPP communications team, Kwadwo Poku, has criticized the government over its announcement of the clearance of the $1.47 billion energy sector debt. He argues that the move is not unprecedented, noting that the SWAL NPP government also settled similar obligations, largely using revenue from existing taxes and levies in the energy sector.
2025, under certificate of urgency, the NDC took to Parliament 1 cedi per litre on the ESLA. So now we no longer pay 95 pesos on a litre for those ESLA payments. We now pay 1 cedi 95 pesos, which is almost 2 cedis a litre, right? And in that instance, government, if we are doing about 5.8 billion litres a year, right, both fuel, petrol and diesel, the government is raking in almost $1.1 billion a year from the 1 cedi 95 pesos ESLA, right? So if government is raking in that much money, and we see a letter from the Ministry of Finance saying that, oh, this amount of money has been paid, for me, it's good because we are being given information. I've always been a proponent of information given. Right. Government should give the citizenry information. So it's good information to be put out there. The bit of the commentary in that letter for me was needless because I don't think the government is doing anything that the previous.
That's it for the Business Brief. Up next is the latest update in sports with Monica Bukari.
Business Brief was brought to you by GHOne, passion for technology.
Many thanks for joining me here on Sports Brief. I am Monica Bukari. Now, Kumase Asante Kotoko have strengthened their attacking department with the signing of Yakubu Dogo. The highly rated attacker who hails from Yendi in the northern region joins the Porcupine Warriors ahead of the new campaign. Speaking to the club's media team, Dogo expressed his readiness to meet the high expectations that come with wearing the famous red jersey. He noted that his first training session reflected the intensity and standards of the club demands, adding that he's eager to contribute to the team's success.
Excited, and I'm also privileged to be here. It's one of the, or let's say, the biggest club here in Ghana. I think everyone should know how big the club is, the history and the wonderful culture of it. So it's a moment for me to be one of the training ground. I can see the effort of the players, the technical team as well, and also the fans. I know how the pressure is very tough. So.
Now with AFCON, 4 of Africa's most successful nations remain in anticipation is building ahead of what final clashes on Wednesday as the race for continental glory intensifies. Defending champions of Senegal, tournament favourites Morocco, record holders Egypt and West African giants Nigeria have all secured their places after thrilling quarter-final encounters. Senegal showcased their pedigree with a disciplined and commanding performance, once again underlining their status as a team to beat. Morocco continued their impressive run, combining tactical discipline with attacking flair to edge past their opponent and keep their title hopes alive. Now, Egypt, drawing on their vast tournament experience, held their nerve in a tense encounter to book another semi-final appearance. Meanwhile, Nigeria delivered a strong display of resilience and quality, overcoming a tough challenge to compete the semi-final quartet. All games are set for Wednesday as all 4 semi-finalists face off to battle for a spot at the final. And that's all for sports, but do join us at 1 p.m. on The Game. My name is Monica Bukari. Do stay tuned. GHOne is up next.
On the entertainment zone of Action Chapel International, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams has sparked public outrage after challenging men to ensure financial readiness before marriage. He suggests that a man should have at least 100,000 cedis in his bank account, citing the responsibilities that come with family life. Khadija Idi hits the streets to find out more from the public.
Would you agree to marriage without having 100,000 Ghana cedis in your bank account? Well, Archbishop Duncan Williams believes financial readiness has to come first before commitment.
For me, I don't think you need to have that such amount of money in your account before you can get married. Okay, so since marriage is the only transition in life where we get to witness, people choose to make it big, others choose to make it small. In all ways, they become memorable. Someone can wake up today and decide to get married on a low budget. So I don't totally agree with what Bishop said.
Marriage comes with a lot of responsibilities, and responsibilities is almost equal to having money. So if you don't have money, how are you going to take care of yourself, your wife, and the family? And of course, after marriage, you're expected to have kids. If you don't have money, how then do you have produce kids and then take care of them, their school fees and stuff like that?
Marriage is something like decisions to make. So I don't think you have to get enough money to marry someone, or that huge amount of money to get married or anything. You should be prepared, but the 100,000 is too much. I mean, you should be prepared. Your partner should also understand where you're coming from and things.
I think it's a nice suggestion, but the amount is too much. At least half of it is okay, because after marriage there's other stuff that you have to take care of. There'll be expenses, utilities and all that. So if you don't have any amount on you, it's bad.
Interesting comments. Let's get more on our social media pages. Nanama Akwa joins me with those comments. Nanama, what are people saying?
Well, netizens are talking a lot about this. We're going to stick with Facebook today. Kenny says, great one, man of God. Young people usually miscode marriage as wedding, thinking if you've not done a wedding, then you are not married. Frank says, let's remember that those programs also provide job opportunities for lots of people, like decorators, rentals, caterers, musicians, MCs, and a whole lot. We just have to go on the level you can afford. But those who have bigger amounts, I think he means budgets, can go ahead with bigger programs. So marriage to sustain doesn't depend on how big or how small the ceremony was, but it's just grace. That's just his opinion, he says. Benedicta, that's why Catholics have mass weddings every year. They announce it. If you want to join, just join and wear your ring. That's also interesting there. Felix says it makes sense, but the question is, are they listening and willing to heed to that advice? We also have Sechi. The man is talking from experience, Pa. And Joshua, I think this is a wake-up call for young men to hustle and work hard before thinking of marriage. It's not about the wedding, but the financial stability to take care of a family. Emmanuel says, or asks, are you the parents of those who want to marry? Are there any factories too inside the church for the young ones to acquire that 100,000 Ghana cedi finance for the marriage? Then we have here Nelson. I fellowship at Empowerment Worship Center. This is the same message my pastor preaches. He himself spent 600 Ghana cedis on his wedding ceremony. It was a very small gathering in his sitting room. For a man at his level, he wanted to set an example, and that was an interesting example to set. Mami Sewa, I always agree with this. A ceremony you can with the rest of the money saved. Marriage is not the ceremony. And we have here our last comment from Nitete. That is what the youth must be made aware of, especially the women. Marriage by our tradition and biblical teachings is not wedding. Marriage is done by the agreement between two young people and the backing of their parents, fathers especially. That's all he says. Any other thing apart from that is a party ceremony, just enjoyment. If you don't have 100,000 Ghana cedis and at least a single room, just go in for our traditional way of getting married. Aqua, continue to send us your messages on Instagram, Facebook, and on X. Lily, over to you.
Thank you very much. For those of us who are unmarried, we'll take a keynote. Let's head to the foreign front. Foreign front, President Donald Trump says countries doing business with Iran will face a 25% tariff on trade with the U.S. in response to a deadly crackdown on anti-government protests. China, Iran's largest trading partner, says it will take all necessary measures to safeguard its legitimate rights and interests. Meanwhile, Trump's national security team is expected to meet